Hi there. My name is Arjun Ohri, and I'm one of the co-founders and the CEO of ShopMessage. We're a messenger bot platform focused on helping brands and e-commerce merchants drive sales and build long-term relationships over Facebook Messenger. So I'm going to share how chat conversations, specifically Facebook Messenger, have become the fastest growing revenue channel for e-commerce brands. And I'll share specific examples of real brands that use Messenger to drive revenue and provide better customer experiences. As a brief introduction, ShopMessage is a platform that's built for e-commerce stores to drive more revenue over Messenger. And just as a little bit of background on myself, I've spent the last 10 years of my career building businesses on top of Facebook. I got my start building games like Words with Friends and Farmville, and really saw the power of how you can reach hundreds of millions of people on Facebook and drive a real business selling both virtual and physical goods. And then after that, ended up starting my own e-commerce company where we were able to get over 2 million customers selling print-on-demand apparel and jewelry, powered by our own proprietary ads automation tools. So we're very, very well versed with how to use Facebook to reach a target audience and really grow your sales. And then what we actually did was we realized that as Facebook ads were getting a little bit more saturated and harder to drive immediate ROI on, we actually built ShopMessage for ourselves. We had this idea that what if we can reach our customers on the channel where they're actually spending more time in a more direct, intimate way. And so we built ShopMessage in the beginning just to start to recover abandoned carts. And we found that 10 to 15% of our overall revenue on a daily basis was being driven by Messenger. So we took that idea, built it out into a product, and put it out on the Shopify App Store. And now we're powering the Messenger experiences for thousands of brands on and off Shopify, including some of the fastest growing digital native brands like Fashion Nova, Pure Vida bracelets, Movement watches. So to get started, what I'm going to cover is why Messenger and why is this the time when you should really consider it for your e-commerce store. And then I'll follow up with very, very tactical examples of how brands are growing their Messenger list, triggering the right message, and then firing off interactive conversations to really increase the engagement and the sales from your users. Let's start off with why Messenger and why now. And it's really driven by a combination of growth in mobile and customer preferences changing. So what you're seeing here is the percentage of e-commerce revenue that's being driven by mobile versus desktop. And it's been already the case for years that mobile traffic has been higher than desktop, but now we're seeing that the amount of revenue, the GMV that's being driven on a mobile phone, is much higher than on desktop. And so given that more of our customer base and revenue is coming from mobile, we need to make sure that we can reach customers on a channel that's really authentic and native to mobile. So, not necessarily email, which is getting harder and harder, or even other channels. What we're finding is that it's also customer preference. So, we like to say we live in a conversational economy now where people aren't used to sending personal emails or to their friends and family, or even picking up the phone to call them. But instead, they're actually chatting. And what we're finding is this is translating into how people prefer to communicate with businesses too. So we found that most people would rather text or send a chat message for customer support as opposed to using email or even getting on the phone. And then lastly, we're partnered with Facebook in a pretty deep capacity. And what we found is that Facebook itself is going all in on Messenger. What you'll hear even from Mark Zuckerberg is that the biggest growth has come from one-to-one messages, small group messages, and ephemeral stories. So you can imagine that the future of Facebook is going to look a little bit more like WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger than the current one-to-many newsfeed model that you see today. So, and that makes total sense because that's following where the customer preferences and the mobile trends are going. So now on to the tactics. When thinking about a messenger program, you need to think about how to grow your list and then send the right messages. So for growing the list, I want to start off with an example of one of our customers, Fashion Nova. Many of you know them as really this Instagram darling that has over 17 million followers and is just seen tremendous growth over the last few years. So most people engage with Fashion Nova on their website. And the biggest lesson we've learned is that you want to take the context of what the user is doing on the website and using that to opt users in and send in the right message on Messenger. So what Fashion Nova is doing is they're using smart pop-ups to prompt users to opt in with Messenger. And what they do is by using the ShopMessage pop-ups, they can detect that a user is logged into Facebook, and only for those users actually prompt them. Because the last thing you want to do is disrupt the e-commerce flow by asking users to type in their email address and the password for Facebook, especially on a mobile phone. And then B is give users a one-click opt-in. So all other channels, things like email or even SMS, require multiple clicks or typing in a phone number or changing apps. So with the one click from Messenger, it really serves an advantage there. And what they find is that they're seeing 12% of their users opt in to Messenger just by browsing the site. And it's not only that they're opting in, these users are actually significantly more valuable than the users who don't opt in on Messenger, and resulting in a 23% lift in sales from these users. So Fashion Nova is an example where they're really powering a lot of their remarketing efforts by capturing opt-ins on their website. And they have a very strong integration with Messenger that allows you to use your existing preview pop-ups to actually capture a Messenger subscription as well. So this is really powerful because you can detect, based on whether the user's logged in or not, what is the best way that they should actually opt in to hear from the brand. If they're logged into Facebook, maybe or they're coming from Facebook ad, that's when you should prompt for Messenger. But if not, you can always fall back to email or another channel. So now that we've covered a lot of the ways you can grow your audiences, now it comes to where really the meat of Messenger is, which is how do you trigger messages all along the customer journey? And as a brief overview, the major takeaway you should take from this conversation is that context matters. You have to think about how customers engage with your brand holistically. And so depending on how well they know the brand, where they are in the buyer journey, you want to make sure that you can include that context and send the right message. And many of you already do this in the email world using tools like Klaviyo or Privy. But with platforms like ShopMessage, you can actually do this with Messenger itself. So as a customer is first becoming aware of a brand, that's when you might want to send them a welcome series to educate them about the brand and maybe a discount off their first order. And then as they're actually considering what products to buy, then you can serve a product quiz to help users really narrow down the best product for them. And then as they're actually making their transaction, you can facilitate them by sending abandoned cart reminders and really helping them to recover their cart from any device if for some reason they weren't able to finish their checkout. And then lastly is, even after purchases, you can build on your ongoing relationship through sponsored messages. And I'll cover that. So taking a deeper dive into conversations along the customer journey, let's bring up Fashion Nova again and talk about what they're doing to recover abandoned carts. So if somebody adds a product to their cart, but say they got busy or distracted and didn't complete the purchase, then they might leave the site. So in Fashion Nova's case, they use Messenger to send a reminder. And so notice how personal this feels. First of all, timing-wise, this is sent within 30 minutes of the user browsing the site. So it's really fresh in their mind. And then it's personalized. In this case, Fashion Nova greets the user by name. And if you look at the message itself, you notice that it contains the exact contents of their cart, as well as a discount to purchase. And then from here, the user can either just go and recover their cart and finish the checkout with a pre-applied discount, or they can continue the conversation by browsing some related items or other things that they might like. And finally, if these still don't answer their questions, they can just simply respond and enter a support bot flow or even talk directly to an agent. And so now to the results. By incorporating context from the users off Messenger experiences, Fashion Nova saw over 80% open rates, more than 5x the click-through rates that they see on emails, and they were able to recover almost 10% of their abandoned carts through Messenger. And this is not just for abandoned carts. If you think about all the other points in the customer journey, whether it's including restock notifications or leaving a review after a purchase, Messenger is just a very strong channel for that. A lot of people ask, how do you actually send messages to customers later on? And there's been a bit of confusion around this. And you should think about this as if you want to send promotional content that's more than 24 hours after the customer interacted with your brand, the best way to do that is using Facebook's sponsored message feature. So this is paid. It's almost like running an ad, but the value is just unprecedented, really. And so I'll show you an example. Blenders Eyewear is one of the companies that uses Messenger very effectively, and they were using all the best practices that I talked about earlier to build their list and recover abandoned carts. So they had a massive list of conversations on Messenger. So when it came time to actually launching a St. Patrick's Day sale, what they did is segment their audience, and then they sent a sponsored message within Messenger. And you can again see that this is personalized with the user's name and gives a direct link to make a purchase. And what they saw is this was wildly successful for them, resulting in over 30x ROAS and outperforming all their other ad placements. And then one learning that we found was that even though the message itself was visual and engaging, Blenders actually drove a considerable amount of engagement and sales with that persistent menu. So if you notice on the bottom of this, you can actually see you can have a nested menu, show things like shop now or get help, and show the maybe 3 to 5 most common customer support questions, or give a way to manage the notifications. And what we find is that oftentimes, even though the user gets that push notification and gets this message, it's through that menu where they drive a lot of the value. So now moving on to what my favorite part of Messenger, which is what makes it unique. How do you actually make interactive conversations for more advanced use cases? And you should really think about this as, if your store happened to be a physical store and someone were to walk in, what kind of questions would you ask them? What would you say to them to learn more about what they're looking for and really serve them the best? Whether that's giving them a product recommendation or giving them a coupon or some sort of promotion, or trying to preempt what are the most common questions, or what is their question, and giving them really fast answers. So that's where interactive conversations really comes into place. So I'll show a couple examples. One example is with the brand Movement. And so many of you know them for their very strong Instagram presence, for their minimal, bold designs around watches and now sunglasses and jewelry. And so during the holiday seasons, when people are shopping for gifts, Movement's goal was to build a gift guide to take customers who already knew about the brand, but down the conversion funnel to actually find the perfect piece for themselves or a loved one. So Movement used newsfeed click-to-messenger ads to drive users into a messenger conversation. And now this is very powerful because now you can ask users just 3 or 4 questions. Things like, are you looking for men's or women's? Are you looking for watches or sunglasses or jewelry? Within watches, do you have certain preferences? What kind of strap do you like? What color watches do you like? And by the end, you can really give users a personalized set of product recommendations. And what's valuable about this is a few things. Number one is the conversation itself is highly engaging and really easy because you can just interact using buttons and quick replies. So you're seeing 85% quiz completion. And then after users get a personalized set of products just for them, when they actually click on that to get back to the site, they see a 5x lift in conversion rate when they reach the site, because now you're showing them products that they like, as opposed to dropping them on the homepage where they have to search for this on their own. And then lastly, and most valuable, is now you know your customers a little bit better. In Movement's case, now they're able to to tag their customers based on who likes men's versus women's watches versus sunglasses. What are the preferences around the kind of strap or the size of watch or dark watches, such that if Movement was launching a new collection for large-faced dark watches with leather straps, they know exactly who they can segment. And then another example, which I love, is American Eagle came to us and they wanted to increase their conversion rates during the biggest sale of the year, which is back to school. So they have thousands of SKUs for jeans and bras. So they worked with ShopMessage to detect when a customer was shopping for jeans or bras on the site, and then provide a quick automated concierge experience to find a recommended product using Facebook's customer chat. So they used a guided flow to help the customer narrow down the products they were interested based on their behavior in the site. And if the customer needed help, they can just type anything and the customer service rep was on the other end to answer more specific questions. And the result was more than tripling the conversion rate while also increasing AOV. And that makes sense because as customers trust the brand a little bit more, they're confident that they're getting a product that they like, that fits their size preference. They're willing to buy more. And then also American Eagle uses to grow their Messenger subscriber list so that they can re-engage these customers even after the first interaction. And the learning here is how the conversation starts really matters. And so finding customers in the right point in the journey and starting that conversation on their site with context about what they want is what really helps make the conversation a delightful experience. So these are a lot of the tips and tricks you'll learn from Messenger. And I know this can sound a bit daunting, but there's a number of platforms out there that allow a very self-serve way to build these conversations. And if you're familiar with any other tools like Facebook Ads Manager or Klaviyo, you'll notice a lot of the same similarities. There's rules to define when somebody should get one message versus the other. So you can do things like, I want to send a special message to users who have abandoned a cart more than $200 because I want to treat them like a VIP even before they actually made that first purchase. And then secondly, there's a visual conversation builder, which is just drag and drop, and it makes it easy to assemble these conversations and all the branching logic. So there's lots of templates to get started. And Messenger is something where it may be daunting, but there's a lot of experts out there also, and ShopMessage itself offers a managed service to really help customers. So if you're interested, feel free to reach out to me, and my email address is listed here, or you can even send me a message on Facebook Messenger, and I'd be happy to help you. And as a final word, just like customers expect to be able to call a business and visit their website or find them on Google, customers will expect to reach brands over chat. And Messenger at this point is really leading the way, but you can imagine a completely multi-channel approach over the next couple of years. So it's clear that Facebook as a company is investing in messaging across the board, and we here at ShopMessage have been excited to do our part in enabling businesses around the world. So with that, thank you for listening, and thanks to Derek for inviting me. Feel free to contact me via email or Messenger.
Love it, Arjun. Thank you so much. One quick note, and this is it's about how we look at metrics, and I love the part about customer chat, of course, right? I just mentioned in chat, like when you look at those engaged users, you expect them to convert higher. So like a marketer knows that if I'm engaging, I'm going to convert higher, because it's like somebody that gives us their email address is also likely to convert higher. Somebody that makes us abandoned cart page is also likely to convert higher. But the important thing, the real thing that like moves the needle for a store, is that does increase the overall site-wide conversion rate. And I think that it's important, to mention that, because like if you can increase conversion rate, like by and large, I mean, can you imagine a store that had a 10% to customer conversion rate? That would be the most successful store of all time. And it would just be about driving more and more traffic to it. And that's really what I think messenger marketing can do, is it brings us closer to that goal, that insane goal.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Awesome. Arjun, thank you so much. And we will bump you off here to bring on Josh.